What up? What up? What up? What it do, gentlemen?
Gentlemen, what's
Good,
wrong?
what's good, what's good?
What's going on? What's going on? So it looks like we are live.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to get things kicked off, started. We want to welcome everybody to the Black Man's Locker for another thought-provoking episode. I am Tyrese. We also have Marlon, Mr. 2000.
Hey, yo.
We have Mr. Terry Talks Terrell.
Good, what's good?
How's it going, gentlemen, man? How's y'all week been?
Not too bad for me. Just working hard, brother. Working hard. Trying to
Okay.
get
Okay.
just a new job. You know how that goes.
What about you,
Great
Terry?
things going on. Great things going on. I was trying to get quite a few black men coming in for therapy. I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
Encouraged by that black
Awesome.
men are starting to take care of their mental health and have conversations about the things that before we've stuffed. And so
Right.
it's exciting to have conversations with men who are trying to get it right, not just for themselves, but for their families.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's huge, man, especially for our hometown, man. Just to see that movement going on with black men, seeking therapy, want to get guidance, want to get help to be better for them, not just for their family, but even better for themselves. You know,
Absolutely.
you
And
know,
I think when the black men get it right, when we get healed, when we work on the things that really kind of bother us, then we start realizing that the other things around us get a lot better. Our perspective of things change, and we start realizing maybe it wasn't them, maybe it was us.
absolutely, absolutely. So, man, another great thing we got going on this week. We have the awards coming up this coming up weekend.
Yeah, we do.
So our podcast is nominated for an award
Yes,
for
sir.
the I hope I say it right because I'm not trying to butcher it, but there it is, the Blackout Awards ICT. I was going to scroll through my phone to make sure I said it right, but we've been nominated for a podcast award with some great podcasters as well. So definitely, truly thankful and humbled to receive the recognition from our hometown to have this opportunity just to share with the city, who we are and what we do.
Right.
So
That's
we're not
exciting.
going to prolong. We're about to dive into this conversation. Um, Everyone who has Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, whatever social media platform that you have, we've seen the videos and the conversations with Cam Newton, with Nick Cannon, and I do not want to butcher this doctor's name, so I'm trying to look it up. The one
You
of you
just call
gentlemen,
her Dr. Bryant.
Dr. Brian. There we go. I knew it was
Not it.
Brian, but I was trying to find her first name. So we have the conversation with Dr. Bryant with Cam Newton. There's also an episode with Nick Cannon. And the subject matter that really took viral was the production of broken homes. These gentlemen, have a multitude of children. I don't know if they're trying to repopulate the earth or what, but they have a multitude of children by different women. And the statement that was brought up is that these gentlemen are creating broken homes. So what are y'all thoughts on that statement that was being made?
I'm gonna let Terry go first.
You
But
let me
he
go
said that
first.
because Marlon sounded like he about to go in. Go ahead. Go
He
ahead.
might not get the mic back. I got a couple of things I think about it.
Right.
First off, as a man that has children from different mothers,
Yeah.
um, it's a conversation that I've had with other black men. Um,
Mm.
but regarding Cam Newton, who has 8 kids, 3 baby mamas, um, Nick Cannon, who has 12 kids, six baby mamas. I think I think we have to distinguish the difference between um, what they have going on and then some of the households that are, have already broken.
Mhm.
For them to be in the top 10% of men with their earnings, as well as they're considered what we called high value men. And I think one of the things that was kind of brought up during the conversation was she had a conversation with both of them, and some of the things that she talked about was low functioning
Yeah.
behavior. And I think it's important for us to first have a conversation about that, because there's a difference between a high functioning man and a high value man. Um, and because I think because these men make so much money, we put them on such pedestals that we don't have conversations about their actions and how it really can. What is the difference between what they're doing and another brother who might have 6 to 8 kids and he's not taking any accountability either? Nick and Cam, both, I have respect for both of them. They both have Cam has had an exciting career in the NFL, made a lot of money. He's poured back into his community. He's does a lot of right things. And if you look at him on the surface, he's a good man. He's a good man. And for the conversation they had was regarding the 8 kids and the 3 baby mamas. And he was able to articulate his thought process about it, but still kind of boils down to one of the things that we're going to talk about is the broken homes. Now, one of the conversations that I've had with somebody was on those exact same terms. And then what we were saying was, even though he has the money to financially stabilize these homes, he's not in these homes. And so even though he's not in these homes, it's creating a deficit for these kids. And so for a man that I grew up with my mom and my stepdad, and my stepdad had a really good work ethic. He went to work every day and he took care of us financially, but we and him never really had a relationship. And so you can have men in the home that are not in the home, if that makes sense.
That does make sense.
And so one of the points that she said is that he's not even in the home in some of these. As much money as you can pour on this as you want to, he's not in either. He's not in the home. He's not in any of these homes. Nick Cannon got 12 kids, 6 baby mamas. There is no way he can be in all these homes. And although they are good men and good fathers, they can call these kids all they want. They're missing football games. They're missing soccer games. They're missing practices. And that has to have an effect on these kids.
Absolutely. Like, do you think the misconception could be, what fatherhood is? Because for some men, they believe, okay, well, I'm a father as long as I send a check or I pay money, given the financial assistance, so they're there financially. But do you think a lot of men, or some men, I don't say a lot, but some men can be missing the thought of being there physically?
Oh, absolutely. And I think it kind of boils down, because if you have a conversation with some of these men, you'll find out that they have missing pieces in their childhood. Their father wasn't there. Their father was there and he was the problem. A lot of how we kind of see life is shaped through the lens of our childhood. And so when you start talking about fathers not being there, it creates a deficit. When you talk about fathers that are in the home that are abusive, it creates a deficit, and it creates trauma that us as individuals, as men, as women, go into the world, and we either go to one side of the extreme. Either we really start duplicating some of the dysfunction that we saw, or we start going in the opposite direction and we try to avoid all that. But either way, it comes from the source of pain and trauma from not having men in the home.
What about your thoughts, 2000?
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say that the Cambridge Dictionary defines broken home as a family in which the parents are separated or divorced, no longer married.
Uh-oh.
First of all, also, when saying that is, these were never homes. These were never. This was basically, these cats met these women, and with the exception of Nick Cannon, because he did marry Mariah, and they had a whole thing. They had 2 kids together, and they had a family, but then they got divorced. These men met these women, and they procreated, and they made children, and obviously these women are with it. Not my cup of tea, because I personally tell young men that I meet all the time that once you start having children and go ahead and get married, have all kids by one woman, don't do multiple baby mamas, because it's a headache. It can be a headache for some people. That's just my opinion. I mean, I'm not saying and it's not all on the women. It could be you too. But my whole thing is just the fact that this situation to me is it's funny that it's concentrated on men. And I mean, let's just be real. American society is not built for any type of polygamy type situation. It's not. I mean, if you go to certain countries, there are tons of men who have multiple wives or multiple women in their households and are, things like that. That's just what it is. I'm not, and I'm just research I've been doing on the subject. And even I mean, it'd be different if Nick Cannon and Cam were creating kids and not taking care of them. Because you don't hear Nick Cannon's baby mamas complaining, you don't hear Cam Newton's baby mamas complaining. They're there, and like I'm not saying that is 100% right, but the way this subject is being discussed, it's like these kids are crying. I know families that have one dad, one mom, multiple children, and the dad doesn't go to the games. The dad's not always there because he has to work. He's busy. He's so busy because he has to make sure the house is taken care of. So, I mean, I think the discussion, as much as it's concentrated on Kim and Nick Cannon being bad people, I think it should be also concentrated on the women that lay down with these men. I mean, everyone knows that Nick Cannon has. I mean, there's even running jokes where women are like, "Well, shoot, I need to be one of his baby mamas," where they're saying that. There's like these situations are coming out, and it's like, but these cats are millionaires. They take care of they take care of people other than their families. Honestly, it's not. I mean, I don't even know how this whole thing came up where this Dr. Bryant is able to be that expert on this, and it's not even a home. They're not even homes to be made. This is basically, I mean, how many people we know that got fathers that were never in the home to begin with? You know what I'm saying?
I think she could be looking at it from the aspect of how the children can be impacted, because of course it's going to be a pull and tug. They're all going to want daddy there at the same time,
right?
And the effect that could possibly have on the children.
Right.
I think you're right. I think that you have these, just because the man's not there doesn't mean it's not a home. You got the kid and the mama. You got the kid and mama. So regardless of whether the daddy decides to be there or he's not able to be there, or for whatever reason, that's still a home. These are still individuals that are impacted by his absence.
Right. But my thing is, like, Nick Cannon, I remember he did an interview a while ago where he said, he's not, he admitted he's not able to be at every game. He's traveling. So if he would have had all these kids by one woman and he was traveling all the time and doing work, because he got like 3 or 4 shows, and he got radio shows, all types of stuff. Nick Cannon's busy. So
that child support eats his butt up.
Man, if you got it, you got it. I mean, if you got it, I mean, from what I understand, each baby mama has their own house. They have their allowance, they have cars, they have everything they need to raise these children. And like I said, you don't see none of them jumping on podcasts about Nick Cannon. He's a lazy, this, that. The only person that's talking trash is Mariah. Mariah come out and say whatever, but then again, she's the ex-wife. Ex-wife energy is way different than baby mama energy. So, to me, I feel like, I mean, I'm not excusing it, but my thing is, why is it such a big deal? We need to concentrate on these men out here that ain't doing for their kids, is making multiple kids. That my homegirl just buried her dad and found out she thought she only had 8 brothers and sisters. Turns out she got like 14 and had no idea. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we need to talk about these dudes that ain't doing for their kids at all, that aren't there. I mean, if I can go back in time, I wouldn't do that at all. I wouldn't want to have multiple kids by multiple women. If I can go back in time and change anything, but I do feel like, it's one of those things where they got millions. This isn't they're not the first to do this, So it's like it is what it is, But at the same time, it's like, I mean, I just don't understand why it's that big of news. I mean, it's funny, I mean, I wish I knew Nick and Cam's end goal. I mean, are they trying to build an ark or something? I mean, I need to know what the end goal is. So, you know what I'm saying?
So let's do something. Let's take the gender out of it. Okay. and just say that, there's situations where the mom is not engaged in doing what she's supposed to do, don't add financial assistance to the home. What still happens to those kids? Because I was a single father and the mom wasn't engaged at all. What happens to those kids when the other parent has to raise those kids?
It
Right.
Either way, it sucks because I honestly like me, I wasn't raised with my pops, and I honestly, eventually I got over it. I mean, I'm pretty sure I got some deep seated issues that only a therapist can probably pull out, but I'm at the point now where I know where I am with my kids, and I think either way would go. Either way it goes is all bad, but to me, I wish my dad was hell a Nick Cannon or a Cam Newton. Hell, I wish my dad was just a regular alcoholic that only came around once a week. You know what I'm saying? If he was just that dude that came around, and if I just knew he was a drunk, you know what I'm saying? I'd be cool. You know what I'm saying? So my thing would be with me personally. I'm like, this is, to me, this, in my opinion, with what I've dealt with in my life, this isn't that big of a deal. I mean, if I could pick up the phone and call them, if it was a situation where the baby mom's like, well, when we call Nick, he doesn't answer the phone ever, or whenever he never comes, we never see him at all. Then I'd be like, yeah, Nick, you messing up. That's not cool. But if it's a situation where the kid can pick up the phone, hi dad, hey son, talk to him for a couple of minutes, I got to go back to work. Cool. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to me, and the inner child in me is saying that would be cool because I never got that. So,
Gotcha. So I think for me, trying to figure out how I can phrase this. So I grew up. What I'm saying, I have my stepfather that was in the home. I don't even call him my stepfather. I just call him my father. Period, because he was there since I was 5. So I did have the male, role model, father figure inside of the home. But I think it still means something too when your biological father is not present. And I think of that, the impact to those children, because I have other siblings, which y'all know them, through my biological father, but his absence still made a huge impact on my life because he was not present like I wanted him to be.
right.
Yeah.
There were so many things that I missed out just knowing from my biological father that I wish I would have known, even to this day, because I didn't have that access to my biological father, which means, and that was at his choice. I did not have that access to that side of my family. Now that I'm a grown adult male, there are some things that I still don't know, even from just like even a health standpoint. What trickles down on that side of my family. So I think the need to be there for fathers is very important. And I get what you're saying, Marlon. We definitely have to have conversations about those fathers that aren't there. We have to have those conversations. But just as we have to have those same conversations about fathers that aren't there, to what you were saying, Terry, there are mothers who are just as absent as fathers are, but that conversation never happens.
Yeah.
Right. There's a whole
Absolutely.
there's a whole thing going around where there's like this sorority of baby mamas that are out there having kids by multiple men because
Mm.
if you have a bunch of kids by the same dude, the child support is less. But if you have multiple dudes, it's equal. So my thing is like that's why I said the energy doesn't feel like it's the same.
Yeah.
And I think it's all wrong. I'm not trying to say that one's better than the other, but it just feels like, I think they're being attacked because these are high profile millionaire black men who, that have something. So it's like, it's the expectation is you got this. I mean, even if they didn't have kids, let's just say these are black men who were dating women and whatever, there's still a problem with you need to settle down. There's still that conversation that will happen. You need to settle down. You need to find a wife and this, that, and the other. You know what I'm saying? So she can take to have your money and spend it. You know what I'm saying? Like this, that's to me, that's what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing. I mean, I see the problem, and I see the problem.
Right.
Just to me, it's just not that big of a problem. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's something. That's a sin he's going to have to deal with when it comes time for, especially if we got kids that's the same age. When it comes time for graduations and things like that. And it's like, you got to decide whose graduation you're going to go to or things like that. You better hope that private jet is fast, brother, because you're going to have to, you got to zip across the country just to see your kids, unless they all live in the same state, then or same city, so that's his sin to deal with. But to me, like I said, it's a problem, but it's not like, to me, I'm more worried about, the kids out here who don't have their fathers at all. I'm more worried about, things like that. So
I think
And I got what you're
I
saying
think
too,
they're
Marlon.
both. I think both of them are relevant.
Yeah.
I think they're both relevant.
I'm not saying one.
Like
It's just in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I just feel like this was the agreement that was made. Nobody was pinned down. Nobody was forced. It was like, look, I don't want to get married. We can have babies. I'll take care of you. And the female was like, okay. And it went down, and hospital bills was paid, homes was bought, allowances was set, cash apps is popping. So,
and kids is affected. I think one of the things she said that was most powerful is she called out the selfishness that this is, and that's what it boils down to. Even though we talked about the men that are on their home, that's selfish that you're not in there impacting your kids' lives for whatever reason. There's multiple reasons why sometimes men are not in their home. Sometimes it's the mom, sometimes it's the dad, sometimes it's addiction or whatever. But there's no real distinction between that if it affects the kid in such a way that they grow up with an absent father. There is a selfishness that comes from being able to do that and then doing that, even though it may be agreed upon. That's selfish on the mom's part too, for agreeing to that. I was having a conversation with somebody, and I was saying, you know what? If I could go back, I would have preferred to put my kids in a 2-parent home, and that was a selfishness on my part. Being young and enjoying some of that stuff. No one actually had conversations with me about that and what that actually does to kids. Not being able to have a 2-parent home and being able to pull from both of the strengths of the mom and the dad. So it's when you are a high profile man like that, you they say high value man, but that has some very low functioning behavior when you choose to create kids.
I don't like that term, high value man. I'm just being 100 with you. I think that's the dumbest stuff I've ever heard in my life, because I feel like, either you're a man or you're not.
Well, define it then.
I think it's like, the definition of high value man in social media, as I see it, is basically somebody who's making over like a high 6-figure, able to take care of a woman and blah, 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 blah. But if you think about it, Nick Cannon and Cam Newton are in that category of the men that taking care of these women. But as far as the overall term, I hate that term, because
it's tied to money.
I know some brothers who are making like 5-figure, low 3 figures that are extremely good fathers and husbands that are doing what they're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know y'all business, but I'm kind of certain y'all ain't making $500,000 a year. But y'all seem like y'all do y'all thing as fathers.
We get there.
You know what I'm saying? It's coming. It's coming. But y'all are extraordinary fathers. So I don't understand why that's just some millennial weird wording, whatever. That's just
I would say this, speaking from as I was sharing the story about my biological father. The questions are gonna come. Like, you may not be able to explain it now because they're young, but the questions are gonna come, because I had my WTF moment. I think I was maybe about 13 or 14 when I started thinking, like, wait a minute, how is it I have a brother that's only 4 months older than me, and then I have a sister that's almost 7 or 8 months younger than me? Now, this was at 14. So then I'm looking like, hey, hold up, wait a minute. And I started to ask questions, and then the question was like, well, was this child more important than me? Okay, well, you see them more than you see me.
Yeah.
Is that your favorite? See that, and then those are the conversations that are going to come up with those young children once they get older. Well, I see you spend more time with such and such than you do with me. Why not me? Is it my fault? So then that's when the guilty part starts coming in, and then the child starts blaming themselves. And I'm just saying this because of experience, because that's something that I dealt with in my
Yeah, the
teenage years.
identity.
Because I started to blame myself, like, well, is it my fault?
Yeah. I mean, you're touching on something that, I see a lot with I have kids that come in here and I have conversations with in my practice. And it does, that challenges their identity because, again, they start looking at their value. What is my value that my father's not here? They start internalizing that. What is that? Why is he not here? I wish my father loved me enough to be here,
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure these kids, even though they're financially taken care of, are going to start having these conversations. Like you said, Arlen, when you said the jet can zip across the country, but it's not going to make all those,
Right.
And then how does that play out in that kid's life and the relationships that come out of that?
True, because I think that child could grow up. And this is when we talk about generational, I want to say the word curse because that's not the word I want to use.
But
But
dysfunction.
we'll say generational practices. Because what if his sons grow up to think, well, that's how life is because daddy did.
Yeah.
Now you got a cycle of the same things happening over and over and over. And then you got more women complaining. These dudes ain't because it's a cycle of things happening.
Like I said, it's not really the first time this is going on. I mean, like, a lot of these older rappers that are coming out that are getting older and they're introducing their families.
Oh, they got kids
as a
all
whole.
over the place.
Like Busta Rhymes accepted a Lifetime Achievement Award, and bro got like 6-7 kids. You know what I'm saying? I know they're not with the same woman. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Two rappers that got some kids in Wichita, but I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
Right.
They gonna put a hit out with you.
Yeah. Right. You look at it's just so many people. Faith Evans has like 3 or 4 baby daddies or an ex-husband. Well, 2 ex-husbands. Well, she's a widow too. Widow ex-husband. Yeah. But anyway, what I'm saying is like it just things like this. Maybe I'm just numb to it. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just looking at the situation and I'm just comparing it to my situation when I was a kid. I'm just like, I mean, if I could just call, if I can just call my pops on the phone when I was a kid, hey dad, hey, how you doing? How was the game? I'd have been cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my heart. Because I mean, if you at work, you're at work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, if you're busy, because like I said, I got friends who have a lot of siblings in one household, same parents, and it's the same situation. Dad can't always come home to the games. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes moms come home late. Dinner. They didn't have many dinners where they couldn't have dinner because mom and dad are at work, or dad's out of town, mom's at work working late. They gotta, they walk into their football games and they play and then walk home, with their trophy. Nobody's there to watch the game. You know what I'm saying? This is with both parents.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I see where it's wrong. I see where this is a problem. I see where this can be complicated for some, especially for this new generation of sensitive kids. These kids are way more sensitive than they was when we were young. But like I said, I mean, the whole thing of shunning these men like they're out here just making babies and not taking care of them. I feel like the approach was weird. You know what I'm saying? I think because if you watch both interviews, it got to a point where you can see both men were getting kind of frustrated. Like, dude, you know what I'm saying?
Or was that the accountability?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, true. And then like the whole thing is like of her not having no kids at all. That was kind of weird to me, Because she was like, she spoke like she was speaking from experience, and
I think who was it? Cam said something to the fact that, how is it that she's an expert on this and she has no children but never been married? And that's a lot of times that's the go-to when. So this is the accountability kind of part right here. Sometimes that's the go-to when someone is being held accountable for something. Then the first thing they go to is, well, you have no experience in this. You shouldn't be talking to her because you have no experience whatsoever.
Yeah,
I think from a research standpoint, she probably has, some knowledge of it because, I mean, she's a counselor. So she probably not only just counsels them, but also other individuals as well when it comes to therapy. So she's probably taking a lot of her notes, a lot of her information that she's gathered over the years to this conversation. But I think just as much as she's having this conversation with Cam and Nick, there is definitely a certain female that I think, Marlon, I think you know the name of, that
Joy,
this same conversation needs to
Joy
happen.
Chavis. And I was just about to say that too, because for some
You're right.
weird reason, every female that I didn't ran into when I bring this subject up to them, they're like, well, she's different because Future's a deadbeat dad and Bow Wow's broke, and she's, I'm like, but yeah, she's going from celebrity to celebrity to celebrity to celebrity, so it's like,
maybe she was looking for a payday. Doesn't sound like.
I mean, come on, man. She's got to be getting at least 10 grand, at least 10 grand per child per month. Come on, man. Y'all got to stop playing with me on this. That's why I'm like, how is it cool for this man, these two dudes, for her to do this, but these two men are doing it who have way more money than her? They're the providers. It's a bad thing, but she's a good mother. They're bad men, they're bad fathers, but she's a good mother for some odd reason. I don't understand that. Somebody needs to really explain that to me.
I think that we also got to pay attention to, there are some commonalities in what Cam and them are doing, and then what she's doing also is transactional relationships.
Yep.
Where they're having conversations about what each one of them want. Although it's selfish, some of the women in these parts, that's still low functioning type of behavior
That's gonna be the popular phrase going into this fall season. Low functioning behavior.
I'm gonna get a T-shirt.
Well, I can think of a lot of other words that I want to say, but that's what I kind of use when I see.
Go ahead and say. You might have some clients watching.
This is a family show.
We're gonna keep it PG.
But it all stems from a brokenness. It all stems from a place of unhealed.
Absolutely.
When you're unhealed, you do things and you make decisions that affect other people when you don't care.
And
so
I wish
that's my biggest problem with it. That's my biggest problem with it is, even though they're doing this and if you listen to them and you hear what they're pitching, it would almost sound as like it doesn't hurt anybody. Like nobody else is affected by this. And that because me and this other mother have made this decision, I think they call it consensual non-monogamy. They made this decision to bring these kids into the world. These kids are still affected in such a way. And one of the things I wanted to say is, if you just take the 12 kids that Nick has, let's just say that this affects the kids in some way. The 12 kids, and each of those kids have 3 kids each, right? That's 36 kids. That's 36 lives that are affected in some way, shape, or fashion because of these kids that are birthed out of these situations.
His house about to be ran with grandkids.
Which house is it going to be, though? He's going to have a conference, have all these kids.
He can buy a mansion and put them all in a mansion. I bet you if Nick Cannon said, you know what, I'm going to buy one big mansion and all y'all come live here, they go over there. Then what everybody going to say then?
They're going to say no. Because the women have chosen to have the situation that they want.
Right.
Knowing those women, they'll probably say, yeah, and there'll be a reality show on MTV.
And just so y'all know, Joie Chavis is Future's 5th baby mama. She's right after Sierra. So that means I'm pretty sure she knew he had other children, but she just said YOLO. So let's just put that out there, since all the other women, a lot of women that I run into are saying that, oh, well, he Features a dog. She had 4 other reasons not to do it, but she still did it anyway. So I just want to put that out there.
Financial stability matters.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
there's trade schools for that, brother.
Yeah. But like I said, like Marlon was saying,
restaurant.
Like Marlon was saying, it's cool when they do it, but a problem when black men do it. But I think, I remember Kevin Samuels had several videos where he really held, women accountable for that. And Kevin Samuels was bashed to badly, for his discussion surrounding that. So I think an accountability measure goes all the way around, not just for men, but also women, and it's like Marlon was saying, the women that have had the children with Nick Cannon and Cam Newton, they know what they doing.
Absolutely.
They know what's coming from this. They know, and even except for Mariah, we're going to exclude Mariah from this. But even when you look at the caliber of women that have bared these children, low functioning. I mean, I'm sorry,
But to the other point, they are successful. Like, these aren't women from the hood. These are successful women. These are modelers. These are journalists. These are women who have
keyword models, IG models. Nothing to discredit models, but there's a type you see. There's a pattern. There's a type.
Yeah.
I mean, but my thing is, did anybody ever had to just really stop to think outside of? Yeah, I can understand the whole broken. The thought of it being a broken home. Maybe this is what these women want. There's a lot of women out there who go to sperm banks every day and they get impregnated by people they've never seen in their lives. You know what I'm saying? Except for by a picture. And they have these kids and they literally do it by themselves. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, to me, if these are women who are professional, they got jobs or they got careers and they just made an agreement to have a baby with this man and, they're cool with it. And there's no infidelity going on and they're smiling and they're happy and everything is cool with the exception of a missed ball game or a miss. Now, here's the thing. There's a difference between Nick Cannon saying he going to show up and not show up and missing games on purpose than versus hey, Dad, can you come again? No, I can't. You know what I'm saying? To me, that's why I'm arguing this, because if I know my dad's not coming or if I know my mom's not coming, I'm not going to trip. I might trip right then and there, but I'm going to get over it. Now, if you say you coming and you don't come, that's a whole different ball. That's like, dude, you said you was coming. Now my feelings are hurt. Now you got to buy me a PlayStation.
He's assuming that they're not affected, though.
Buy your PlayStation now.
We're assuming that they're not affected and that they are affected, in some way, shape, or fashion. And there are some that I'm probably sure that. Go ahead.
I'll say, I remember those days, like, growing up. I believe it was around my freshman year going to Southeast, probably going even back to my middle school years at Brooks. I remember those days of like the promises of coming, and you see in the movies, the little kid waiting by the window, looking outside, checking the blinds, waiting to see the car pull up. That's what that really happens.
That absolutely sucks.
And there were times where it was like, well, once I got older, it was just like, well, I know you're not coming. But still in the back of my mind, it was almost that I wish you would. You know what I'm saying? So that's the effect that's still going to happen on the children.
Right. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's kind of where I'm at. Like with it, I just feel like there's way more energy. And I've actually come up with a whole, I guess you could say, like my saying is, if men are to be held to this standard where we shouldn't do this, which I don't mind being held to that standard, we need to be able to be men like we're supposed to be men in this society. Yeah. I think if it's a situation where, men, there are different rules and it's acceptable for women to do this somewhat, but men shouldn't do it at all. We should be able to lead society like we're supposed to, like it's been written in several books and several doctrines. But and I'm just being real with you. That's just how I feel. And if it can't be like that, or if they disagree with that, they need to let these men live. And when these women decide to come out and tell you how horrible it was, then I will change my opinion according to whatever the tea is. But if these women are happy, I mean,
gotcha. And then I just want to shout out. We see Lana and Mo. There is actually some great comments actually going on in the chat. I wish it would. It's kind of going back to some of our previous discussions, but definitely thank you, for the engagement and this conversation. And there's just some information about the impacts that are here about fathers, not being there. So I think that's. I know we say when we have good conversations, our conversations can go on and have follow-up conversations. But I think that's a great subject matter, Marlon, to talk about on a future episode of our podcast. The impacts of fathers not being there. Because of course we've done the research and we see the reports that Black fathers are the most active, you
Correct.
know, among any other race. So this is definitely, something we want to continue, to talk about.
Right.
No,
But
that
I
makes good
mean,
sense.
go ahead, Terry. I'm sorry. We've been interrupting you all
No,
night.
I was just looking at again, we do appreciate you guys' engagements. We love when you guys have responses and can chime in with different things. And again, we all have our perspectives. And I'm speaking because I'm biased as a therapist, seeing and having these conversations with grown people who are affected by missing parts of their childhood. And so even though we can say things like, okay, well, the men agree, the women agree to have this transactional relationship, there's still kids that grow up with missing parts. And there's a lot of us that really feel things more because we've been those kids with those missing parts. And we have to put ourselves in a position to where we can start trying to be whole and get the healing that we need and get the professional help to help us work through those tough issues and relationship deficits that we have from missing parents in our homes. So I'm a little biased, but I'm gonna drop facts where I can regarding this because
We know you.
it's
We know you are.
But I mean, and I get it. I totally get it. Like I said, I'm not promoting this lifestyle at all. I mean, my thing is like, fellas, young and old, or if you ain't got kids and you thinking about, dude, just either get married or how about your kids with one woman? Don't do the most. It's not cool. It's not cool. It's not the thing to do. I mean, I'm more on a if everybody agree with it, then why is it a problem type situation? Because it's like making these men look like monsters is just, to me, it's unacceptable. You know what I'm saying? Now behind the scenes, if Cam Newton is doing some wild stuff, then yeah, you know what I'm saying. He's definitely he needs to be held to his feet to the fire. But like I said, it was a situation where you know these women are happy they got unlimited Amazon shopping and cool. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's happy.
Yeah. And I think they both clapped back at the Dr. Bryant on their show. They both kind of clapped back, but if you look at it, when the accountability part came for that, they deflected and they got defensive. Both of them did. Both of them responded a little bit differently, but they both got really defensive. And so, but let me drop this though, because like you said, it's not just this, because they try to shape it and form it like it was a black man thing. No, any men that what you see is there's a lot of actors out there. Who is the actor that he's 70 something. He just had a kid. He played in
I know
some.
you're talking about
Oh,
the dude was he in Meet the Fockers?
No, he played. It'll come to me in a second. But there's many actors that are making that money, and that puts them in the top 10% of men. And so they have opportunities to make their relationships what they want to, and they don't believe in using contraceptives or trying to use condoms or any of that stuff. They can afford to have the kids. They want to have the kids.
Yeah, Robert De
So
Niro. He was in Meet
Robert
the
De
Fockers.
Niro.
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro.
Yeah,
Yeah, he was in
De
Meet the
Niro
Fockers.
still popping kids. He's like 97 years old. Kids gonna come out. Oh,
Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button. Come out knowing their ABCs and everything.
I still got a little something.
Got a little gas in the tank still.
They're gonna come out and cut their own umbilical cord.
Oh man.
Oh, and he liked a little chocolate too.
Yeah, he's a black. He with a black woman.
Yeah.
He has multiple.
With a
Yeah, he
stripper.
was married.
Am I seeing a pattern here? I'm sorry. I'm just being 100. I'm starting to kind of see a pattern here with this madness.
What's the pattern you see?
Because he has two ex-wives, and if his current girlfriend or wife is black too, then
Hey, if you like chocolate, you like chocolate.
Hey, he like the.
I'm talking about the money. Why the money factor of it? The whole I can have a kid. Well, at least he married him, so I guess that's cool. I guess
So
that's the cool part, because they're ex-wives. They're not just.
So this is something that goes across the board, whether it's Cam Newton, whether it's Nick Cannon, whether it's
Don't Shaq got a couple baby
Bill
mamas?
O'Reilly had multiple kids, families, and they were all financially taken care of, you know. But the point that I just want to make that is it affects these individuals going forward.
Is I don't know. Is Mr. I'm not gonna say his name, but it's because we gonna stay off that conversation. But don't Mr. Orange got women got kids by different women? I think so. All his kids ain't from the same woman.
Mr. Orange.
He talking about
45.
Yeah, we're not gonna use names on here.
45.
Al Pacino's another one.
Yeah,
but you have men who take advantage of their, you know,
their power,
the power and opportunities to create the relationships, or you know, how they want to, and that's fine. But you know, we're gonna call it out for what it is, you know.
I just want the energy to be distributed equally. That's all I'm saying. Like, you know, she needs to go ahead and sit down, old girl, and ask her what was she thinking and what's on her mind, and tell her that it's low energy and she's creating a broken home too. We need to go ahead and tell her that. Ask her if she plan on marrying this NFL player, and do they plan on staying married? Or are you just going to break up with him after the time period pass and collect the alimony and the child support? We need to go ahead and
you want equal rights.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Like, let's keep the energy. Let's match energy on this whole subject. I would, you know what? I wouldn't have nothing to complain about.
Triggered.
I am, bro, because these double standards are getting out of hand, bro. I wouldn't have nothing to say if the energy was reciprocated through everybody. If it was to the point, if that third interview that Dr. Brian would have did would have been her, I would have been like, come on, let's pick another subject, because there ain't no point in talking about it. No, but for some reason, you know, she got her 1 million followers and her practice is popping, and now she's good. She's radio solid over there.
Yeah. I mean, we all know it was it's definitely a marketing strategy that was used to, you know, because you picked those two men, famous, popular black men who have a lot of children. Now, if she bring Future on next, we're gonna definitely say, okay, now come on now.
I wouldn't watch that trash.
Let's be real. Stevie Wonder is like killing all of them, I think. Stevie Wonder guys. Stevie Wonder, Ray Charles, bro. These dudes got baby mamas like it ain't nothing. Like it ain't nothing. And it's like, and I'm not saying it's cool.
Hey,
I'm not saying it's cool at all. But
he brought Stevie.
They got kids. They ain't never seen them.
Stevie out here.
Stevie ain't supposed to see him. He ain't supposed to see him, Reese. What you do?
Woo. That was bad comedy. That was bad comedy. Oh my god!
You should only see him once a week.
Oh
man,
that dude.
He's gonna have a representative call you.
Oh man.
Man.
Oh my gosh, I cracked myself up, y'all. So, hey, sometimes you gotta have a laughing moment, man. In the
you definitely have
serious conversations, man.
It makes you, but you know what? Kind of keeping on that subject. Isn't it amazing how many kids Stevie Wonder has and Prince had none?
Wow.
You think those numbers should have been way reversed?
Nah.
Look, Prince should have had at least.
Prince should have had
at least 15.
Because he doesn't have kids, though. You know,
back in that, you know, that 80s and 90s time, folks was out there wilding, wasn't protecting nothing. Like
daddies was doing their thing. You know,
Prince was a player.
Somebody was in the comments that said y'all wrong.
That's my mama.
Who said that?
My mama said that.
Mama.
Yeah, but
you can't be messing with Stevie. You gonna get the mamas triggered.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. You know, I mean, you look at these. Man, you go back in the 80s, the Solar era. Them dudes was Motown. Come on, man.
70s and 80s, man, was really people wasn't wrapping nothing up. They was out there just going crazy, man.
We ain't gonna even talk about the Jacksons.
So So let me throw this out there then, because I think that obviously it boils down to the psychological standpoint of these individuals that's making
Yeah.
these decisions, the trauma that we have as individuals. I can't beat that drum enough that as minorities we have to get our psychological base. We have to really work on that, become healed as
Hmm.
individuals.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, we will always affect our families, our relationships, our communities in such negative ways. And so we laugh at it because these individuals have multiple kids, and this isn't new. This has been going on for years. However,
Right.
it's still it produces kids that have to deal with some type of psychological issues with the dad either being in a home, being abusive, or not being in a home. You talk about Jackson 5, man. Michael talked about all the abuse that he did endured, and look how that affected him even into his manhood as an adult male because of the abuse and neglect that he did due to his daddy. So we have to have those type of conversations about trying to get into a better space as men and women that seek professional help.
Yeah, but back then it wasn't cool for us to do that. It wasn't cool for black men to go get therapy because
The stigma, I understand.
I mean, I'm glad a lot of brothers are out here really. I mean, I got friends that are locked up. They're actually going through certain therapies, and it seems like when they come home this time, they're going to be better men. And
That's good stuff.
I'm really glad that people are starting to really get in touch with that because it's definitely needed. Maybe even with these situations with these brothers, maybe they can you know get some more help privately. Don't put that on TV no more. Don't do it. And
Yeah.
maybe
That's
find
they
out an
show.
end
They
goal,
don't keep putting out.
and
Yeah.
maybe get an end goal for these brothers because I need to know. I need to know what the mission is. Because
Like you said, therapy and just resolve is what's needed. And I know this isn't a subject matter about what we're talking about, but this just kind of echoes the importance of black men having issue. I mean, having excuse me, going to therapy. With having issues and seeking counsel. You know, Tyrese was on a Breakfast Club, and
man,
he talked about how you know going through trauma. And trauma in itself isn't just someone passing. It's the end of a relationship. It's the end of a marriage. It's having
Yeah,
child custody issues. It's going through child support court. It's
yeah,
friends passing away that you've been close with. And he even talked about that as far as how he has endured so much trauma. But he even said, just as he endured so much trauma, no one checks on the man.
nope,
When he talked about going through his divorce, everyone
yeah,
checked on her, but no one checked on him.
right,
yeah,
When he lost friends, everyone checked on the women, no one checked on him. So he really brought to light the importance of men going through therapy and a lot of things that men deal with that men don't talk about.
yeah. You talking my language right now, man. Yeah, Tyrese is he's a prime example. He articulately put that out there as well. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? As black men, we live in such a performance based world where they're not interested. There's no platforms really for us men to have conversations about the things that bother us. It's
The black
work
man's
harder.
locker.
Yes, the space that we have is one of those spaces, and I'm excited about what we're doing in that group. But outside of us and a couple other platforms, there's just not very much out there for men. And what happens is we stuff our emotions, and we,
Yeah.
like a beach ball, we keep stuffing it. Like a beach ball, you push it down, and it'll stay down there as long as it can. But when you let it go, it pops up over here. You know what I'm saying? And so one of the things is, we keep stuffing our emotions, and now it pops up in our job. It pops up in our marriage. It
Yeah.
pops up in our relationship with our friends. And so I'm glad that we're starting to have more conversations for black men and creating platforms for us to be able to address some of the stuff and some of the harm and hurt that we've endured.
right. We definitely need to be more. So shout out to all the platforms that are catered to us. That are not just Black Men's Locker, but there are a lot out there. I pay attention to a lot of them. I've been
Yeah.
subscribing to a lot of them just to kind of see what they're talking about, and a lot of them are really good ones. Some of them are really funny. Some of them are very serious. So but So it is definitely needed because we definitely need that outlet. You know what I'm saying? Without the use of drugs and alcohol and weird things that we probably shouldn't be doing if we're under that type of stress. So,
because I mean, at times, sometimes men try to cope. Use that
Absolutely.
as a coping mechanism because they don't know what options are out there that are available. So for any men that are in Wichita, you have Terry right here. Now, look, we ain't trying to overload your plate, but
No,
it's
no,
it's
you're
it's
welcome.
important that we don't use things because at the end of the day, you can drink all you can smoke all you can have as much sex as you want, but at the end of the day, the trauma is still there. It does not leave.
Absolutely.
he probably just made it worse by doing all that. So,
And you had kids out of that,
yeah.
which is what we were
Um,
just talking about. We just
What
talking
we
about it.
talked about.
They used it as a coping mechanism, but the problem is it'll never be enough. Until you get whole and till you get healed, you can have as much sex as you want, drink as much as you want, like you said, Ty, and it would never be enough until you get down to the root issue of why you keep reaching for these things to try to fill a space that you need to get healed from. So, man, I'm excited about some of the things and some of the testimonies that are coming from the group, and when these men are saying
Yeah.
that these relationships that they're building in our space is really helping them kind of get over the issues that they're having, and they're being motivated and encouraged to start seeking mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just seeing each other, excuse me, just seeing all the men really come to each other's, I don't use the word defense, but when there's a real serious matter,
Yeah.
issue,
Hey,
someone has bad thoughts or someone is just, ready to give up. You see black men come together and just encourage this individual and just even check in and jump on the bandwagon and really, save that life, or those who have gone through certain things provide certain steps of what they have taken to resolve whatever that matter may be. So it's a great space of seeing black men come together. Like when they say, do black men come together and do stuff? Boom. Here it is right here. This is it.
You got 12,000 of them brothers that are doing their thing. I'm constantly in the chat. Y'all might not see me in the chats, but I'm always in there making sure y'all in there acting right. And
Yeah.
I want there's two chat rooms that I'm always in, and I enjoy the conversation. The Southern Brothers and the Live at the Barbecue. Those are the greatest chats ever. Them cats are in there. They be cutting up. They be talking about some real issues. They be them
Hey,
brothers.
that's
be
Southern
meet-
chat. Well, I be at work. I get mad about something. That's the first thing I go to. Let me go open this chat and see what they here talking about.
going off.
And then I just bust out laughing.
they be doing meetups and stuff. That's why I'm really for the next year. I think we definitely need to do a meetup somewhere. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not. It has to happen because these brothers are serious and we are serious, and
Yeah.
I'm all for it because I'm like it's very inspiring to see these dudes who have never met each other. Driving somewhere just to have dinner and fellowship with some brothers they met online. I mean, I've been online a long time. I got people I met online that I ain't never seen before. You know what I'm saying? So just to see that's actually something that's really inspiring. So fellas, if y'all watch this, definitely appreciate y'all for contributing.
So we down to basically having 1 minute left. So any final thoughts, any final words, gentlemen?
just shout out to Terrence Rice.
Yes.
Happy birthday to our brother. Happy birthday to our brother. He's part of the staff here at Black Man Locker. He helps behind the scenes, organize things, and definitely is inspiration in creating conversations and encourage for the black men in the space to heal and encourage each other. So happy birthday to that brother.
Also safe travels to our brother Norris and his wife. Yes. They're moving around, doing their things. I don't think he's ready for the information to be out there, but definitely they're doing their thing. So, safe travels to them, and
definitely safe travels.
And y'all get ready because we're gonna go to this award show on Saturday, and I'm ready.
Hey.
I'm ready.
I'm stepping. Look, I'm letting Wichita on. I'm letting them know now. When they see me coming, Oh, they gonna see me coming.
Oh, he gonna come in there with grandpa mode.
I'm
Dad
telling
mode.
y'all. Look, the suit gang, they gonna see me coming. They gonna see me coming. Oh,
I ain't
yeah.
wearing no suit, but I'm gonna be looking good. Your boy gonna be looking good, crispy. I'm
Go
gonna
ahead and
be
throw
right.
your little blazer on, man.
Nah, it's too hot. It's too hot.
Nah, he said nah.
He said, nah.
It's too hot. I'm
But we
not
gonna
doing
come
it.
represent. We gonna come represent. I'm
I
looking forward
almost
to
ready
it.
to touch, but man, I was like, nah.
Hey, do you?
Do you, man? We
I ain't
have
gonna
a
wear no
good
tennis
time.
shoes, y'all. We ain't gonna do no tennis shoes. We ain't doing tennis shoes and t-shirt. We definitely gonna come and we gonna be photo ready.
We're gonna have a good time, and you know what I'm saying. I'm just again thankful for the opportunity for us to receive this recognition, you know, from our city and from those who view. So we're just excited to see how things go, man. So with that being said, we thank everybody for tuning in to another episode of the Black Men's Lockers podcast.
Indeed.
I'm Tyrese.
I'm balling.
Got Marlon. Terry.
Yep.
All minds clear.
As the doors open, shout out to Norris. Y'all be cool.
Thank y'all for coming out. God bless. Good night.